What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Loki is going to be a villain in Marvel's Avengers. So I've done this once before. I actually did this with Thanos, talked about if this is something that could happen, if he could appear in this game, and I want to do the same thing for Loki now. I think it seems like it's going to happen based off of just nothing but my assumptions, okay? I do want to make that kind of clear that this is simply an opinion video, and this is simply just me kind of talking, okay? So hopefully you guys like that, but that's all that this is going to be. Really quickly, before I jump in, I do want to promote our Discord, if nothing else, but to get you guys together in a area where we can all kind of organize play sessions of Marvel's Avengers. I played with as many people as I could the first beta weekend, want to do it the next couple weekends, and obviously want to do it when the game comes out. As always, you can friend me on PlayStation. Podcast Now is the friend, as my PSN with a space in between, Podcast Space Now. And again, you can join our Discord server. The link for that will be in the description below. We have an Avengers tab there where we talk all things about this game, okay? So let's get into this. Loki, I feel like, look, we know that this game is going to have a lot of villains, okay? We have Modok as like the main guy, okay? But then we also have a lot of other villains in general, even in just the beta alone, right? Facing Taskmaster. Now, the thing I guess I should probably say, and I'll say this first because this is very opinion-based, is if Loki's going to be in this game, they better do him good, okay? I've said a lot of positive things about this beta. I've said a lot of positive things about this game. I've also said a lot of my concerns, and one of my really only kind of concerns with the game, with the beta that we got to play so far, is the villains overall haven't been very good. I guess the boss fights, okay? How they look has been fine. Taskmaster looks fine. Abomination looked great. Even that robot, I don't even remember its name, but that really, really big, like, mech, I actually really like that. I know I saw people saying, like, that's kind of the most engaging or, like, the most different kind of boss. I kind of agree. I mean, it is simplistic. That boss was simplistic in that, okay, you basically take out the legs, and then he'll drop, and then you attack his eye. Then you have to kind of get the vents on his side, and then you have to jump on the top of him and get, like, the vents that come out the top of him. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, we've seen it before, and there's only so many ways you can make boss fights in a game like this. But in all reality, look, some of this game very much kind of mirrors God of War style. I guess mainly like Captain America, okay? But honestly, it's not impossible to do a game like this well, okay? They can make some pretty interactive and some pretty fun boss fights. We've seen it before, and it can definitely be done. How they did most of the bosses that we got to face in the beta was not reassuring, and it was not a good sign going forward. So when we talk about Loki, I do think he'll be in it. I feel like that's almost a guarantee. I feel like we're going to have characters, and we even kind of have already seen it, right? Taskmaster was kind of linked to Black Widow. We have Abomination linked to Hulk. I feel like everybody, I think Ultron, right? He was in one of the trailers. I mean, we know that these characters are going to face characters that, or like, you know, villains that kind of match them. Thor, I mean, he could face quite a few different ones. And again, like I always say, and it is important to remember this for sure, is that they don't want to be the movies, okay? They want to take their favorite parts or some of the bigger things or some of the things that they most like reflect on with the movies, with the comics, all that stuff, but they want to make it their own, right? That's been the thing that they've said since day one. It's been the thing that I've tried to convey in these videos that they've said, right, to try and back them up, because I do think it's important, right? They're not going to literally make the Marvel Avenger, the movies, the MCU that we've seen, they're not going to make that into the game, okay? So that is understandable. But you got to know with things like this that you're going to be comparing it to what is the most popular. So, like, when you think of Tony Stark, especially even in this game, like, it's very hard to shake Robert Downey Jr., okay? I think Nolan North does a pretty solid job, but honestly, it's really hard to duplicate that, even though, again, this is not the same kind of Tony Stark, so that's important to note. But Loki, I mean, we're all going to think of the Loki in the movies, okay? A Loki that was really, honestly, a really, really good character from start to finish, I thought. So, honestly, they have a lot of wiggle room with a character like this. I think this character makes a lot of sense. And what's kind of interesting is we don't know fully how they're going to be working the DLC, the additional characters, you know, constantly adding updates, because when you think about it, I'm not suggesting like Ultron or Thanos is suddenly going to become a playable character, okay? I really don't think that's ever going to happen. But Loki, I get it. It's Marvel's Avengers, and he's not an Avenger. I mean, maybe you can consider him one, right? I don't know. I'm not big into comics. I don't really read comics. If he's ever been maybe an Avenger in a comic, definitely let me know. Like, I know he can change into different people, so is it possible? So, like, can you kind of wiggle your way around it and say, well, if he's just pretending to be somebody else, and you know what I mean? Like, something like that. But honestly, depending on how they introduce all of these villains in the game, like, is it possible some of them could make its way into DLC later? I feel like that's kind of one of the main things, because that's even kind of a separate video, right? Could Loki be a DLC character? I think it's honestly possible. It doesn't necessarily have to be Avengers character, like literally, what we think of as Avengers. Loki, very, very likable, even though he's more of the bad guy, right? We'll have to see how they handle his character in the game, though, right? Because obviously he was handled a certain way in the movies. I think it's almost a slam dunk. Like I'm not going to bet money because I love money so much, but at the same time, I feel like if I had to bet, I would bet that Loki would be in this game as some sort of opponent for Thor. It really, again, they don't want to do the movies, but it doesn't make that much sense to have a character like Thor and say, okay, well, these characters are going to go up against this guy, this character is going to go up against this guy, or whoever their main villain of choice is. And for Thor, I mean, again, you have a couple picks that you could do, but I mean, what kind of world would we be living in where they just kind of ignored Loki? You know what I mean? I feel like they'd be missing a really, really big opportunity. And then again, like going on from there, like could something with him be in store for DLC? I mean, look, they're gonna have a lot of DLC. You heard Nick Fury. I know people have told me like in the trailer how he said like there's 20 basically Avengers. So like could they have at the end of the day, like 10, 12, 14 different DLCs, they could. And again, do all of them need to be Avengers? I think most of them would. Loki is kind of like that oddball where, like, it would make sense if we got to play as him. I think it would actually be pretty darn cool. But again, all the stuff I was just talking about really rests on, I really don't want him if they're not going to do him well. Honestly, that's kind of the case for anything, for any game, for any movie. Like even like this Uncharted movie, which I know is a very 180, right? I was talking about one thing going to the next. But like, it could be good, but at the same time, like if it's not good, I would have just preferred that they didn't do it. Same kind of thing for this. Like you can go back to my earlier video with Thanos. I would love that. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing to have their own take on Thanos, because it's been done a couple different times before, have their own take on him. But if he's going to be lame, if the boss fight's going to suck, then it's like, I don't really, like if he's going to be like a boss raid, or whatever, like the raids that they have in it, like I don't really, it basically it's just like a stupid thing. I don't know if I would necessarily want that, right? Same thing for Loki. If he's just a really lame boss fight and it's kind of like a one-off thing, he's in one mission, he's done, I don't know if that's really giving him kind of the respect he deserves or that I would want from him in a game like this. So definitely a double-edged sword. I want Loki in it. I feel like Loki will be in it. Again, I think I'm to not dance around it. I do think he will be there. I just hope that they're going to do him right. Hope that the boss fight doesn't suck. And then again, depending on how that goes, who knows? Maybe they do like a kind of curveball and say, hey, these DLC, we never said all of them had to be, something like that. Like we never said they all had to be Avengers. Loki is going to be one, right? That would be pretty darn cool, I think. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Loki will appear in this game? Do you think maybe he could eventually come as DLC? What would you want him to look like? What would you want like his boss fight to be? All those different things. Let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel podcast now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I'm having a ton of fun making these Avengers videos. Many, many more coming to you guys. I got different kinds of videos, maybe even some more collaborations coming up. Definitely want to be playing the beta more, talk about the beta, talk about the main game. So again, tons of Avengers videos coming really over the next month or so as we lead into the base game releasing and then when the game comes out. Make sure you join us on Discord too if you guys haven't already, so we can try and organize some gaming sessions, and I hope to see you all on the next video.